For someone to practice as a doctor, a medical doctor, the medical board, not the government, there's a medical board to which you apply, and that will go through your papers and make a determination whether you have what is required by law, and I guess in accordance with the professional requirements for you to practice as a medical doctor. That is how I understand it, but the particular case we can investigate. I also want us to give Sean a round of applause because Sean got married yesterday. Give him a round of applause.
Yes, good night, good night. My name is Nelson Hall, and I'm glad that you speak about the crime that's happening in St. Kitts. Now, I do listen to a lot of radio, what's going on in St. Kitts and Nevis, which I like what you said earlier, that you bring in organization to deal with crime. Now, I look at if the ministers ain't looking to some of the youngsters who, the United States sent out a lot of people from the United States for years. I would like to know if you all ever investigate that some of these youngsters could be some committing crimes into St. Kitts. Because, they come in and, they got to link up with peers. If you all don't investigate who these youngsters, if they be living in St. Kitts for a long time. And I would like to know how long the organization will stay in St. Kitts to deal with crime, and also if they will be a part of Nevis, also going to Nevis branch of dealing with the crime. I'm glad to hear that because, I visit St. Kitts a lot, and it's sadly to hear that this crime going on.
Thank you for that concern. All of us, as I said earlier, were concerned about the upsurge in the crime, and that is why I think so many of the organizations came out publicly and commended the government for taking a courageous stance on the matter. The support that we had is visible both in St. Kitts and Nevis, because we are dealing with the problem as one country, two islands. So whatever support we have to fight crime, we put some of it in Nevis. We brought in a number of dogs to fight crime, sniff out guns and ammunition, we set up a canine unit, and we put a number of them in Nevis. Because it's one thing to have St. Kitts safe, it's another thing if Nevis is unsafe. It's one federation, so we will all suffer. So we are in this together. Same when the criminals were getting out of hand, we brought out the army to assist, and we put, in fact, they are still in Nevis for the first time. The Defense Force is working in Nevis, and we did that as part of our crime fighting strategy. So similarly, when the RSS came in, some of them were sent to Nevis, some were sent in St. Kitts. The operations are being conducted on both islands. The RSS support is always available for us. It is just for us to ask. And we leave it to the security forces to make a determination when they will need added support in terms of the RSS. What we can say, that they will go into different phases, and as these phases unfold, the police high command will advise the country about what of the operations they can say. You have to appreciate that these are security operations, and when we speak, the criminals also hear, and we do not want to tip them off. So what I would say, they are there on demand, and as often as we require them, their support will be had. It so happened that I am now the current head of government that chairs the regional security services, so that makes the facilitation easier for us. What I would remind citizens that we take the safety and the peace of the country. We will not take it for granted. It is serious, and we want to maintain the safety and security at all times. So we are glad that you are concerned. We're glad that you welcome this initiative of the government to restore peace. And you should speak to those that you can. You know, if you know you have a relative or a friend at home involved in drugs, tell them to change their life. Because you see people that say, well, they're just growing some marijuana. Marijuana is illegal in the country, and the law is the law. And those who are involved in marijuana, they need guns to protect their turf, to impose their discipline on other young people. That is why a number of them in their gangs, they can't go out, because they know what their masters have. And that is why we have to stamp it out. Some of them would say, well, in the States, it is being legalized in some areas for medical use where we are not in the States. And while it is being done in some of the states, I was in a meeting with President Obama, and he said in his lifetime, the federal government will never legalize marijuana. He said the federal government in his lifetime will never legalize marijuana. And you know what happens? A lot of these young people at home who are involved in the gang, they got arrested for the spliff or the herb. It's on their record. They have a police record. When they want to get a visa now, they can't get it. Because the federal government does not legalize marijuana. And they're not going to do it in a hurry. Jamaica has made some effort to do that. And I would say they're regretting it. Because I was in a meeting with the Prime Minister, and he said the banks in Jamaica are not taking monies into their banks from persons whose trade is marijuana. Because they are saying that the international banks consider it to be a drug. If they get involved in receiving money from drug activities, they could lose their license, they could be fined billions of dollars. So it's not as easy as some people believe. And a lot of those who are clamoring for the legalizing of the marijuana, you must ask them, what will they do better? Because now the marijuana is illegal, and sometime in some pathways in Bastille, you can't pass. They dare you. You pass and the smoke, you inhale. You know it's unhealthy for your body. Imagine if this was legal, they would be in the church with it. You know, so we have to ask ourselves what it is they will do different. There are some of them, they have taken the marijuana, they have mixed it with other drugs, create something they call sprang-along. They give it to young people and just twist up the young people's head. So there are a lot of harmful effects about it. And we, as people who know better, have to be part of the debate to say what is on our mind. Because it's easy to say, legalize it, let man make a living. Well, how come they can't make a living and the other things that there? We need so much food. We need so much foods. Why they can't do those things that are legal and make a living out of it? Why it has to be something that is illegal? And then all of us exposed. Because we become a society where people begin to perceive. So I have said to them at home, the law is the law. And we have to uphold the law. But really I am concerned, and I live in a rural community, I am concerned the way in which some of these people who smoke the marijuana are to daring. In the good old days, you take in a chance, you hide. You go to the back, then now up to the front, as if it's nobody's business. And we can't allow these kind of things. So when they are so daring now, you just have to imagine what kind of world they will make for us and for our children. Imagine your children who you're trying to raise up the proper way, going into schools and people in there with the marijuana and twist up the head. So it is a big, big issue to be discussed, and time needs to be taken on it. And I've said to my cabinet, we will not be hustled on this matter. So if you have some Rastaman walking around and say, legalize the home, man, are you legalize the home? This is a God home. A lot of things that God tell them to do, they're not bothering with God and that. But you must legalize the home. So we have to be careful about it. And in some respect, when you talk and you say, well, you can't think these things, people say you're old-fashioned. And my view, a lot of the old-fashioned things still relevant today. And if we follow some of those old-fashioned values, our society will be stronger and better for it. Not everything new we could take up on board. So that is my view on that.